Hi, fourth graders. Welcome to our week number 18 of remote learning. We are on Module 6, Lesson 6. We're going to be doing the last lesson on Module 6 before we move on to Module 7. Because it's just a 4-day week, I'm just going to have you do one lesson. We're not going to jump onto Module 7 yet. We'll start next week with Module 7. So we're going to get to doing some more division. This time, instead of all that subtraction, we're still going to be subtracting, but it's going to be done in a different way. We're going to be using partial products this time, or partial quotients, and I think you will see a huge difference in doing it this way. I'm hoping you will find it easier to do it this way. This is the way I like to teach long division to students, so I'm excited to share this with you guys. So get your Module 6, Lesson 6 paperwork out. You're starting on page 153, and we're going to please follow along and do this together with me, and then you will do your independent work and share that with me so that way I can see how you are doing with the work. Okay, so you're going to be able to use partial quotients to divide multi-digit numbers by one-digit numbers. So at an airport shuttle, buses take passengers from the parking lot to the terminal. To transport 96 passengers, 4 shuttle buses are needed. How many passengers can fit on each bus? So we know we have a total of 96 passengers that need to be transported. There are 4 shuttle buses that are needed to transport all those. So we need to see how many are going to go on each bus. So this is 96 divided by 4, right? That's our division problem. We have 96 passengers that are going to be fit on 4 buses. How many will be on each bus? That's what our answer will be. So I want you to set this up with 96 here, and then we're going to make this symbol that looks like this. It's almost like a big 7. So our 96 is on the inside and our 4 is going to go on the outside. This symbol stands for divided by. So I have 96 divided by 4. So what I'm going to think about is I want to make this as painless as possible, as easy as I possibly can by doing the facts that I already know. One way I can do that is this is a 2-digit number. So I know that if I multiply 10 times 4, I'm going to get 40. So I'm going to take whatever numbers I write over here and I'm going to multiply them by my 4, and then I'm going to put that number under here. Oops, sorry. 40. I was getting ahead of myself. I swallowed and it went down the wrong hole, and now I'm all discombobulated. Okay, so let me start over to reiterate. The number that I'm going to multiply by 4 is going to go here. Whatever number I'm here, I'm going to multiply it by 4, and then I'm going to put that answer under here. Now I'm going to subtract because I need to get this number down to either 0 or a number that is less than 4. So as I'm doing my subtraction, whatever I get to, I need to try to get to either a number less than 4 or 0. If I get to a number less than 4, that's my remainder. If I get to 0, then there will not be a remainder. So 6 minus 0 equals 6. 9 minus 4 equals 5. So now I have 56. Now, knowing what I know and knowing what I just did, I could probably do another 40. So I'm going to put 10 here, multiply by 4. 10 times 4 is 40. So that's actually now going to come down here. Sorry. And I'm going to subtract. 6 minus 0 is 6. 5 minus 4 is 1. Now look at this. I have 16. If I'm really good with my factors of 4, I know that 4 times 4 equals 16. So I'm going to put a 4 over here because I know that 4 times 4, equals 16. So now when I subtract that, I've got to a 0. So there is no remainder for this one. So now all I have to do is add up the numbers over here. 0 plus 0 plus 4 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 96 divided by 4 equals 24. And you would put your answer on top, or you could put your answer here. So 24 passengers can fit on each bus. So I know this looks this every year when I teach it this way. Kids are like, oh, that's really confusing. I'm not sure that I'll be able to figure it out. But every year kids are able to get it and are able to understand it and are able to do it because it just becomes natural. This is a new strategy for you to learn. This is something new. So that's why it will take a little while to figure out and to work through. So, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. So we're going to move to the next one. So an airplane has 165 seats. There are 5 seats in each row. How many rows of seats are there? So we know 165 seats, 5 seats in each row. We want to know how many rows there are. So our division problem would be 165 divided by 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn my book like this. So that way I have the long way to do my division. So I'm going to write 165. I'm not doing this area model. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to jump right into, I apologize. Sorry. We're skipping that part because we're going to practice this skill. And we're going to draw our line down. So 165 divided by 5. Now, when I look at this number, I see, I know it's a 3-digit number, but if I were to multiply 100 times 5, it would get 500, and that's way too big. But I know this is 165, and what can I multiply by 5? Couldn't I do 20? Isn't 20 multiplied by 5 100? Right? I could do that in my head, and that's going to get me down lower. So 20 times 5 is going to equal 100. And I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 0 is 6. 1 minus 1 is 0. So now I'm down to 65. Well, knowing what I know about 5s, couldn't I do a 10? 10 times 5, doesn't that equal 50? Gets me close to 65. We're getting closer, right? So 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. Now I'm down to 15. Oh, wow. That's easy enough. 5 times what equals 15? 5 times 3. So I put my 3 over here. 3 times 15 is 15. So now I add up my numbers. 0 plus 0 plus 3 is 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. So my answer is 33. So there are 33 rows of seats on the airplane. So we are actually going to skip A through C, and our answer is 33 rows. Because we just did all the work, right? So we don't need to write sentences about it. That's one thing about this program that is a little frustrating, is all the sentence writing, and that takes up way too much time. So we're going to just bypass that and move on. Now, as you can see, I whited this information out. There was some stuff on here, but I didn't really want to use it. So on yours, it's still there. I apologize. If you want to rewrite this somewhere else to solve it, or on a different sheet of paper to solve it, you are more than welcome to. So we have 865 divided by 7. So I'm going to redo this because I like having this line here, because then it separates the numbers I'm multiplying and the subtraction that I have to do. So it just helps me to see there's a division here. These two numbers are different. And notice I left this here on mine because I want you to notice this is where I'm going to put my partial quotients, right? That's what I did over here. These were my partial quotients. These were the numbers that I multiplied by 5 to do my subtraction to get my 165 down to 0. So again, we're not going to do any of this. Okay? So 865 divided by 7. When I look at this number, 865, well, it's a 3-digit number. Couldn't I do a 100? Because isn't 100 times 7, 700, right? So I put that number here, and now I can subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 6 minus 0 is 6. 8 minus 7 is 1. Now, looking at my number, so I did my 100, could I try a 10? 10 times 7 is 70. So I could subtract here, right? 2 minus 0 is 2. I can't do 6 minus 7, so I do need to do some regrouping. 16 minus 7 is 90, right? 9 or 92. So I have 92. I could do another 10. 10 times 7 is 70. See, it's nice when you can do hundreds and tens, right? Because it just makes it easier when you're doing your subtraction. 2 minus 0 is 2. 9 minus 7 is 2. So what times 7 is going to get me close to 22 without going over? I can't be bigger than 22. I need to be less than 22, but as close as I can get. Well, if I multiply 3 times 7, don't I get 21? So I subtract and I have 1. Now, this number is less than 7. I know I didn't get to 0, but there's nothing times 7 that's going to give me a 1. So that means this is my remainder. So I'm going to add my numbers up over here. All these zeros plus 3 is 3. 0 plus 1 is 2. And 1 plus nothing is 1. So this would be, the answer is 123 with a remainder of 1. 123, remainder 1. Okay? All right. So we're going to go down to our check for understanding. Again, we're not going to do the area model. I want you to really practice this partial products idea. So Hank loads 848 snack packs on 4 airplanes. He puts the same number of packs on each airplane. Excuse me. How many packs does Hank put on each airplane? Use partial quotients to find 848 divided by 4. So we have 848 snack packs, and we have 4 airplanes. So again, I whited all that out. You could rewrite this on another sheet of paper, or you could write it if you have more room somewhere else. But I am going to create my long line here, my long division symbol. So this is 848 divided by 4. So when I look at 848, it looks to me like I can get 100 in there, because 100 times 4 is 400. So I subtract that. 8 minus 0 is 8. 4 minus 0 is 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. Oh, 448. It looks like I could do another group of 4 100s. A group of 4 100s. 100 times 4 is 400. I subtract and I get 48. Now, if you know your multiplication factor really well, you might be able to do this in just one more step. But I'm going to keep it with 2 steps just so that way you can see that I've got a 40 here. So I could do 10. 10 times 4 is 40. And now I have 8. 8 is, I know I can multiply something by 4 to get 8. I could do 2, right? 2 times 4 is 8. Gets me to 0. If I get to 0, I know I've done well. And I don't have any remainder. Or if I get less than that number, I know I've done well because I've got to my remainder. All these zeros plus 2 is 2. All these zeros plus 1 is 1. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So the answer would be 212 because I do not have a remainder. So he loads 212 snack packs on each plane. All right, and our last page. Remember, when you get to the on your own section, you can do it independently, or you can stay right with me and follow along and do it with me. Okay, so this airport parking garage has 5 floors. Each floor holds the same number of cars. How many cars can each floor hold? Use partial quotients to divide and show your work. Well, it doesn't tell us how many cars there are here, but over here we can see that there are 1,545 total cars that can fit in the airport parking. We want to figure out how many could fit on each row. Again, I whited out that little section. You can do it either way, okay? You could rewrite it over here to do it. So again, I'm going to adjust my division symbol so that way it goes down, so it separates my work, my multiplication work, from my subtraction work. So I have 1,545. Now, I can't do 1,000 times 5, but 5 times what equals 1,000? Or if you're not comfortable doing that, couldn't you just do a 100? Because 100 times 5 is 500, right? So if you're not comfortable, now you have 1,045. And you could do another 100, which is 500. Subtract. You have 545. Then you could do another 100 and 500, and now you have 45. And 5 times what equals 45? 5 times 9. And that gets us to that 0. So if I add all these up, I get 309. So each floor of the garage can hold 309 cars. We are not going to do number 3. And we are moving on to number 4. Okay, so we have 248 divided by 8. Now, even though I have a 3-digit number, I can't do a 100, so let's start with a 10. 10 times 8 is 80. 8 minus 0 is 8. I have to regroup this one. 14 minus 8 is 6. And I pull down my 1. I could do another 10, which is 80. 8 minus 0 is 8. Regroup. 16 minus 8 is 8. Now, 88. What times 8 is 88? I don't even need to do a 10. This one I could do an 11 if I know my multiplication facts, right? 11 times 8 is 88, and I get a 0. So when I add all these up, 0 plus 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So our answer is 31. 248 divided by 8 equals 31. All right, our next one. 185 divided by 5. So I'm not going to do a 100 here because 100 times 5 is 500. That's way too big. So let's look at our tens. So 10 times 5 is 50. 135. Now, one thing I know about 100s, can I do 20? Isn't 20 times 5 100? And that would get me down a little bit faster than doing 2 more 10s. You could do 2 more 10s. That is perfectly fine. You do whatever you know in your head. But if I do a 20, 20 times 5 is 100. And that gives me 35. And then I know 5 times 7 is 35. And that gets me down to 0. So I don't have a remainder with this one either. So when I add these up, I get 37. As my answer. Alrighty, and our last one, we have 740 divided by 6. This one, I could do 106s, right? 106s are 600. 100 times 6 is 600. 0 minus 0, 4 minus 0, and 7 minus 6 equals 1. So I could do a 10 here. 10 times 6 is 60. Then regroup. I have 80. Could do another 10, which is 60. And then I have 20. So 6 times what is going to get me close to 20? I can't go bigger than 20, but I need to get as close to 20 as I can get. 6 times 3, right? 6 times 3 is 18. I know it's going to be hard to see on that purple. I'm sorry. I'll move it down here. 20 minus 18 equals 2. My 2 is less than my 6, so I know that that's going to be my remainder. So I'm going to add all of these up, all these zeros. I get a 3, I get a 2, and a 1. So it's 123 with a remainder of 2. 123, remainder 2. Okay, so for your independent work, you're going to be doing 6.6. The independent work you are going to do, you do not need to do the area model for number 1. I know there's some work already written on there, but you can cross that out and do your division on a different section, so that way you're doing the long division like this with the partial quotients, and then you should be good to go to do the rest of the work. Okay? So 6.6, the black and white sheet, that's the only math independent work you have this week, with it being just a 4-day week, and I don't want to jump into a new module this week. We're going to pick up where we left off next week. Okay? So I hope everybody has a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye.